Hello there everyone and welcome. Today I am going to show you how you can create your very own simple colour wheel just using 3 tubes from the Altenew watercolours. So first up I have a piece of watercolour cardstock and I'm just going to create a really simple colour wheel kind of sketch or guideline onto this piece of cardstock. I'm just using a piece of tape that, as you can see here, so this is a tape roll from Altenew. And I'm just going to take a pencil to draw around the outside. You could use a saucer, a large cup, or even a plate or bowl. Completely up to you how you want to get that circle on there. I have tried to center it on my cardstock to make it easier. Once I have done that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a crosshair on this. So I'm adding one line through the center of the circle vertically and then a horizontal one across the middle as well. I'm then going to eyeball 3 little kind of sections into that corner piece that we have there. So you do not need to get this perfect. This is just for your kind of guide. And you're not really sharing this with anyone, so it doesn't need to be exact. Don't worry too much about it. So once I have those 2 little marks on that kind of corner that I have, I'm just going to line those up with the center point with a ruler and then just draw the line. I'm going to do exactly the same for this side as well. And as you can see, when you draw through that center point, you are getting the 2 sides done as well. So you only need to kind of mark off this 3-4 times to get all of those done there. So once we have done that, we now have our kind of guide for the color wheel, and then we can get everything else ready to create the colors. So I am going to be using a large acrylic block as my palette. You could definitely use a normal palette, but that's completely up to you. And I'm just going to be using 3 of the watercolor tubes to create my color wheel. So the red that I have is the toluidine red, and then the yellow that I've chosen from the watercolors is the opera lemon. This is a really like neon yellow, so if you wanted to use the other yellow you definitely could, but I find that this really mixes well with these colors. And then lastly I have the phthalo blue, so I've just added that to the bottom so you can see the colors more clearly. I've just added a piece of cardstock underneath my palette. So to start with, what we're going to do is we are going to add the kind of primary color that we have straight into one of these sections. So I'm starting with the red and I'm just adding that right at the top of the color wheel and then moving that color down using some water. Remember, after you have done each section, you are going to need to really thoroughly clean your brush. So for the yellow, we have the opera yellow again, and I've just missed out 3 of the little sections that we have drawn in for the color wheel. And then we're just going to add in this color like we did before. As you can see, this is very, very vibrant on its own, and we believe that this is a really great one to mix with other colors. So next up we're going to add the blue into one of the sections. Again, we are leaving 3 little sections clear before we add the blue in. Again, as before, I'm just adding some really dark pigment to the top of the color wheel and then pulling that down with some water, kind of cleaning that off now and again just to get various different shades or hues of the same color. So once that's done, I've washed my brush off again, and we're then going to do a little bit of color mixing. So I'm going to take some of that yellow and I'm just going to add 2 spots to that one, because this is what we're going to need to create the secondary colors. And when we mix the red and the yellow, you are going to get orange. So this is how you get your secondary colors, by mixing 2 of the primary colors together. So once I have a mix of that color, I am then going to place that color in the center empty portion between the 2 colors that we've just used to mix it. So that's how you're going to get this kind of color or placement. I did feel I wanted a touch more red into that one, so then I'm just going to add a little bit on that and then add that to the section. Remember, as before, I am going to add more of the color to the top and then try to add less of the pigment or colour to the bottom of the section. Now we're going to create another secondary colour with that yellow. So instead of using the red, we are going to use the blue, and the yellow and the blue create a green. So as you can see, that neon has really drastically been taken away because we've added in another colour, and this is such a pretty green colour. So as before, I'm trying to add more of that pigment or paint to the top of the section, and then add more water towards the bottom to get the various different shades or hues that this kind of paint colour can achieve. So now we're going to move on to the third and final of the secondary colours. So the only ones that we haven't mixed are the red and the blue. So I've just moved that down onto my palette. I've added some of the red and the blue together, and then I'm just going to mix. Once I'm happy with the kind of colour that I have achieved, I'm then going to add that into the section in the middle of the blue and the red, because this is the colour that you create when mixing those together. Trying to add more of that along the kind of top or the wider part of the colour wheel, and then adding a little bit more water to bring that down into the centre point of the colour wheel. Now all of the primary colours and the secondary colours have been added, we're then going to go on to the tertiary colours. So to create a tertiary colour, what you're going to do is you're going to mix a primary colour with a secondary colour. So as you can see, the first one that I'm going to be doing is that yellow, and then adding that in to the green colour that we've already created. So I'm just going to try and add more of that. This yellow is not as strong as the colours that you mix it into, so you may need to add more of this colour just to make it work a little bit better. Again, I'm trying to add more of that dark colour to the wider part or portion of the little segment that we have, and then pull that down with the water. So again, because I said that more of this yellow is needed to mix, I'm just going to add a little bit more at the bottom of my palette, and I'm going to go in with the yellow and then the orange that we've created. So I'm going to take half of that kind of orange colour that we've created, leaving another half because we do need to use that again when we create on the other side of the colour wheel. So I'm just going to add that into the little section that we have between the orange and also the yellow, and you can see that this is a really pretty kind of tangerine colour that we have going on here. So now all of the colour mixes with the yellow have been done. We're going to move on to the orange and the red. As you can see, I did leave half of that orange like I mentioned before, so I'm going to add a touch more of that red into there, and this is going to give us more of a reddy orange, so more of a kind of burnt red, or like a burnt orange kind of colour that we're going to add in here. Again, adding more of that colour to the top and then pulling that down. You don't necessarily need to do this step, you could definitely just add it as a solid colour if you wanted to, but I think it looks really pretty. So once that has been done, we're going to use that red again, and we're going to add half of that into half of the purple that we created before. Remember that you may need to keep adding water into these paints because they will dry out a little when using. So this is going to give us more of a red purple colour rather than the kind of indigo or violet that we've got in the centre portion. This is very pretty. It's kind of a maroon colour, I would say, and I'm just going to add that into the section between the red and the purple that we have. The next tertiary colour that we're going to create is going to be with the blue and also the purple, so we're just filling in the two gaps at the bottom now. So I'm going to add some more of that blue into the purple to create more of a really dark kind of navy colour this turned into. I think it's really pretty, definitely one that you could use on many different projects, and adding a touch of water would make it lighter, or even you could use the white colour to add in a more of a pinky tone as well. So really playing around with these colours really does make them stretch. So once that has been done, we just have one little portion left, and this is the blue and the green. And I have to say, I may have left my favorite color to last because this is such a pretty kind of lagoon color that we have going on here. So I'm just going to mix that again, adding that color right at the top of that portion. Even though it's at the bottom, it's still, I'm going to call it at the top of the portion that we have. And then we are going to add some more of that green just to kind of see the different hues that you can get with this beautiful seashore tone. So as you can see, we have created many different colors just using 3 of the primary colors from the watercolor tubes. We really do hope that you play with these and create many different colors. Hello there, crafty friend, Lydia here. Just popping in to say that you can get your daily dose of crafting tips, techniques and tutorials just like this by subscribing to the Altenew YouTube channel. All you need to do is click on that little bell up there and you will never miss a video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.